The new era has officially started for the Las Vegas Raiders. The new regime under Pete Carroll and John Spytek has officially started, as both kicked off their start as a Raider with the press conference today early in the morning. And overall, I like what they said. It definitely feels like good vibes with a new GM and with a new head coach. You know, Pete Carroll, definitely from a personality standpoint, you can see why he's a player's coach. He's a guy you just can't help but respect, and he brings a really good resume to the Raiders. So hopefully he can turn this thing around. He's only got 3 years on his contract, and he did emphasize the fact that they want to get started now. They want to turn this thing around as quickly as possible. And he even mentioned this to Max Crosby, who was at the presser today as well. But one of the most interesting aspects of this whole press conference from Pete Carroll and from John Spytek was on how they spoke about the quarterback position. Now, the quarterback position for the Raiders is going to be something huge, because I still think we are lacking in this department. And how Pete Carroll and John Spytek handle this quarterback situation will ultimately determine whether or not they're going to be successful. I mean, take a look at how Antonio Pierce and how Tom Telesco, how their careers went, how their regime went with the Raiders. We were having these same conversations about a year ago, how we needed to find a way to address the quarterback position. And honestly, they didn't really address the position at all, and it ultimately ended up costing their jobs. But here, just take a listen on Pete Carroll talking about the quarterback position, and also on our new general manager speaking about this as well.
It's our mission to build this football team up around the quarterback position. This isn't it isn't the only spot. We happen to have the greatest of all time to help us and to see clearly, and we're going to lean on Tom as much as we possibly can for his insights, because nobody has the insights that he has. He's that unique. You know, I've had pretty good success with my quarterbacks in the past. You can go all the way back to college days, and they've all turned out to be really extraordinary members of our club. There's a way to embrace the challenge that the quarterback has from the rest of the football team as well. We need to support our guy, and we need to do what we can to make that work. It's really about making a great football team around the quarterback position. Coach Walsh taught me a long time ago that it's the hardest position in professional sports to play, and so we need to make it as easy for them as possible.
And you know, I always admired the way that they started in Seattle at the quarterback position in particular. They just kept taking shots and shots. They traded, they drafted guys high. They find their way to Russell. I mean, what an unbelievable move that was. You know, he was a little bit different. He was under 6 feet at a time where most quarterbacks were over 6 feet, so willing to think outside the box a little bit. And these are things that I've learned throughout my career. And so, yes, we want to draft and develop because it's the best way to build a solid foundation of a team. But if the opportunity comes to sign a Tom Brady or a Baker Mayfield, or trade for a Jason Pierre-Paul or Rob Gronkowski, just examples of my career, we will absolutely do that when the team is ready and the organization is ready for that.
So I definitely really like what I heard from Pete Carroll. You can definitely see that he understands how important the quarterback position is. And I just like how he says, as a head coach, his main focus is to build the team around the quarterback position. He understands how important and how difficult that position is. And I love how he states that him as a head coach and the football team in general, they have to find a way to make the quarterback's life easier. And they can do that by running the football, playing good defense, and overall just building an environment where a quarterback can thrive in. So far in every stop, whether that be at USC or with the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll has done a good job addressing the quarterback position. He's had success with young quarterbacks, so we're going to have to hope and see that he can do the same. He can replicate the same with the Raiders. We're going to have to find a way to address the quarterback position, whether that be getting a veteran quarterback via free agency, but ultimately I hope they find a way to get a young, promising quarterback that could potentially be the franchise guy for us. And when it comes to John Spytek, on him speaking about the quarterback position, I really liked how he mentioned how he liked what the Seattle Seahawks did. They were aggressive, trying to find their guy. They signed people, they traded for people, and ultimately they got it right with Russell Wilson. And I think that's what the Raiders need to do. Look, the Raiders, we've tried different things, you know, with free agency, trying to get a Jimmy Garoppolo, a Gardner Minshew. It has not worked out for us, but I just feel like we really haven't pushed the envelope. We haven't got aggressive to try to address that quarterback position in a serious manner. And essentially what I got from John Spytek is he is not leaving anything off the table, whether it be trying to trade for a quarterback, whether it be trying to draft one, and that's something I really like to hear from him. The Raiders at some point in time are gonna have to make a big move for the quarterback position. I mean, it's been over 17 years since the Raiders have drafted a quarterback in the first round, and just in general, in their whole lifespan as a NFL organization, we only have drafted 3 quarterbacks in the first round, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And essentially with a general manager like John Spytek and having a guy like Pete Carroll on a 3-year contract, I think this could be good news for us. I think this could open up the possibility of us getting aggressive here in the near future. And I definitely love to hear that. You also heard them both talk about the importance of having Tom Brady as a minority owner and just the intellect and insight he has, being the competitor he was in the quarterback position, and ultimately being the best quarterback in the history of the National Football League. So Tom Brady should definitely help them when it comes to evaluating the quarterback position on what moves they're going to make. And ultimately, I hope they are aggressive. In the landscape that we live in, the AFC West and just the AFC in general, I find it very difficult that you are going to seriously contend for a Super Bowl in the same division as a guy like Patrick Mahomes if you don't have a young, talented quarterback that can make big, explosive chunk plays down the field for you. And that's one thing I'm definitely excited about with our new general manager, John Spytek. It seems like he's going to be a much more aggressive general manager than what we had with Tom Telesco. And look, Tom Telesco, at the end of the day, he had a very good draft last year, especially in the early rounds, drafting Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze. That was really good, but you know, it's more than just the draft and free agency. He made some questionable signings, particularly with signing Gardner Minshew. And ultimately with Tom Telesco, his biggest downfall was he was just a very conservative general manager. And with the Raiders being in the position we're in, we don't have a top 3 pick. It was going to be difficult for this guy to ever really make a huge move to address the quarterback position, in my opinion. And I think that's where maybe this move to move on from Tom Telesco and go with a new face, go with a guy that's willing to push the envelope. Doing something like this could serve the Raiders very well. Pete Carroll has a solid track record with quarterbacks in general. Carson Palmer spoke really highly of him when he's on the Colin Cowherd show. So I am optimistic about what this new regime could do at the quarterback position and what they're going to do in a huge offseason this year. Overall, I liked what I heard in the press conference. Now, at the same time, I'm not going to get too excited about it because at this point, you know, we've heard a lot of good talk from previous coaches and general managers talking the talk, but ultimately they got to walk the walk at this point. We need actions. We need to see things get done, and ultimately that has to translate onto the football field with results. But based on what we heard from Pete Carroll and from John Spytek, I like their thought process on the quarterback position, and I hope we can make some big moves towards this in this year's offseason. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think of John Spytek and Pete Carroll's press conference in general, and what do you think about what they said when it comes to the quarterback position? Do you think they can make a big move this offseason addressing the quarterback spot? Let me know in that comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that's all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.